Hello, Aubrey Arms here to awaken your greatness. I work with businesses to help them increase their profits, market share, and attract and retain stellar talent by coming in and helping them elevate their leadership, their company culture, and their communication. I've been doing a series on the 4 agreements recently and have been talking a lot about agreement number 1, which is to be impeccable with your word. And if you've been following along, you've seen some other videos that I've had on being impeccable with your word. But there's been a few more that have popped up recently that I wanted to share with you. So there's 2 specific ways that you can be impeccable with your word that you probably aren't familiar with. So the first way is to actually speak up and use your words. I have been in conversations all week with particularly women in the workplace who have been holding back. They've been being nice, or in one woman's example, she was being compassionate. And what they really meant was they were being silent. And so they weren't using their words. They were holding them back and holding them in. And by the time I had the conversation with them, they were so overwhelmed and so stressed out and quite honestly, so frustrated that they just burst into tears because they've been holding it all in. Now, I want to tell you something. As someone who comes in and really helps teams communicate in a deeper way so that they can move the needle and have profitable companies where people can get paid what they're worth and they can have the resources that they need, I've got to tell you, you are not helping anyone by being nice when really being nice is holding back. So it is important for you to be impeccable with your word by speaking up. Do it kindly. You can be gentle in it and you can still speak up. So please, 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 if you're one of those people that have been holding back, keeping it in because you want to be nice or you want to be supportive, but really what that means is you've been being silent, please stop being silent. Your voice is so important. You have so much impact, so much influence. You have so much power that you don't even realize. You're not giving yourself enough credit. So I want this to be the reminder to you to step into your power. Use your voice for the greater good. Use your voice for bringing forward those ideas and those innovations and how things can be done better. And I'll tell you what, if people don't listen to you, go to different people. Keep using your voice until you get heard. And if nobody in your organization is hearing you, perhaps you maybe need to give them this video. Maybe I need to come work with your organization. Or maybe it's an organization that's actually not meant for you. Give them a chance though. Do everything that you can. So that's one way that you can be impeccable with your word. Another way to be impeccable with your word is to be very clear about the word choices that you use and how you use your words. In the book, The 4 Agreements, which I have right here. So if you haven't, you can see all my notes here that I've bookmarked all these different places. If you haven't read this book, you can see it's a really small book. The words are pretty big. It's an easy read. If you haven't read it, it's really impactful. It's a life-changing book. So in this book, he talks about how your words, how you create with your words. In fact, the words are almost like a spell that you can cast over someone. And I know you might be going, oh my gosh, Aubrey, you're getting a little woo-woo for me, but listen to this and see if this makes sense to you. Have you been told in your life at some point in time that you were stupid, that maybe you were fat, or maybe something, like you were told something, you weren't worthy in some way? Have you been told that? And that became your belief system. And so everything that you've done has been out of that new belief because somebody told you something. I'm sure you have. We've all had that. And so when you speak, you actually have the power to infiltrate somebody's belief system. And so it's really important that we're really impeccable with our word and what we say. For example, I was in a conversation yesterday with a client, and during the snowstorm that we had here in Seattle earlier this winter, they were calling people about coming into work and whatnot. And one of the employees said that she didn't feel safe to drive. And it was casually mentioned that, like, hey, didn't you say you worked within walking distance? And that's all that was said. There was no mandate. There was no like, hey, you have to be here. You have to come to work. You must walk to work. It was just a casual note that was dropped, but it was dropped by the president. And so here's this entry-level person that heard this thing that was said by the president. And so she took that upon herself to walk into work. Well, she didn't listen to her own intuitive guidance about what was safe and what wasn't, and she actually fell and hurt herself. So it's really important, especially if you're a leader. It's super important to really understand the power of your word and the impact that it has on other people. So these are 2 more tips on how you can be impeccable with your word, particularly at work, and how you can contribute to you doing your best work, to your team doing your best work, and for the company to be profitable, to thrive, and to create an environment where everybody has the emotional and psychological safety to speak up and to use their words and to trust that they're going to be met well and to be heard and valued for that. So that's my tip for you today on how to be impeccable with your word in the workplace. Again, I'm Aubrey Arms, here to awaken your greatness. Have a great rest of your day.